This is part 2 of a tutorial to show you how to create simple but effective animations with PowerPoint that can be exported as a movie file. So now all you have to do is save the file as a movie. And to do that, you go up here under File and go down to where it says Save as Movie. Select that, and you select what the title is and the folder that you want it to go into. But you want to take a look at the movie options. When you click that, a dialog box comes up and it asks you for various movie settings. Under optimization, you can optimize for size, smooth playback, or quality. I'm going to leave it on automatic or normal for the moment. You can also change the dimensions, although you might want to be careful about this depending on the dimensions of how you set this up. And I'm leaving it at the dimensions of the initial setup. There are also some other options here. You see that there is an option to do a soundtrack. You can do that here, but it probably would be easier to do it, to add a soundtrack in iMovie. You can loop the movie. You can show the movie player controls, various other options. So once you're happy with that, you can click OK. There's also an option to add credits, director, producer, copyright, and so forth. We'll leave those off for the moment. And you click OK, and then all you do is hit save. I've already saved this, so we're going to cancel it. And you've actually already seen the movie. Here it is. Now, I was not satisfied with this particular animation, and I actually ended up doing a different animation. Same concepts, but here is my version 2 of the subsidence animation. And you can see what I've done here is I have imported an image that shows more of a layering aspect to the land platform, and I've imported a photo of, it's actually the skyline of New Orleans. I've imported a photo of the ocean as well as a photo of a sky. And if we go back to the beginning here, I've also added a photo of a ship. And as we scroll through it, you can see what I did. Basically had the same components as before, but things look a bit more realistic. I added some icebergs, which shrunk over time, showed sea level rise, subsidence, basically the same as I did before. And so this was my second version of that animation. In another tutorial, I will show you how to extract such images such as the skyline from their backgrounds so that they fit in with the new background without the old background showing. There's a little trick to that you can use, and it comes in quite handy when introducing elements such as the skyline, or for example this image of an oil tanker moving across the ocean surface. I extracted that from its background. So that is basically the idea behind setting up a sequence of slides that you can then use to create a movie. And the idea is basically the same as creating frames in a movie, and that's pretty much what you're doing. and it works pretty well. Now, eventually I was not happy with this, and I got a professional animation program so that these transitions from one spot to the next, from one frame to the next frame, were smooth. And I'll go into that, the use of those types of more professional animation programs in future tutorials. But for right now, most of you, I imagine, have PowerPoint, and you're pretty familiar with how to set up slides and how to import images and that sort of thing. And so you can create some very effective animations and illustrations to use in your video projects. So next I want to take a look at how to import and use an animation that you've made in PowerPoint in iMovie. So let's now take a look at that. Okay, let's see how to import and use an animation made in PowerPoint in iMovie. I am going to use iMovie 11 on my computer. You can do this with any movie editing program, including the iMovie app for the iPad, but I'm going to use iMovie 11. And so let's take a look at how we would do that. Now what we want to do is import that animation clip that we saved from our PowerPoint movie. And so we go under File to Import Movies, and okay, so now we've got the clip imported. Here it is down here, and we're ready to use it in this project. Okay, so what we have here is a clip that I've put into the project timeline, basically a talking head, and what I'm going to do now is drag our animation clip, which is down here. You can see that the whole thing is there. We can take the whole thing and we can drag it up and overlay it on top of the talking head clip. And when we do that, we get a bunch of options. And I'm going to select the picture-in-picture. And you see what that did is it dropped the animation clip into a box that appears, and you can move it around wherever you want to, and you can resize it, which I just did. And you can also change the speed of it. I'm going to speed it up a bit to 400%. And so we can move it down here. And so you see that I'm talking, and now the animation appears and plays, and if I'm explaining something about subsidence, that animation is going to be explaining as I'm talking. So that's one way to insert the animation. But say we don't want to do that, say we want to play the animation all by itself with a voiceover, then all we do is drag it into the timeline and drop it in after or between two other clips, and now it's, let's speed it up, now it's going to play, and that's all you see in the viewer is the animation playing. And you can add voiceover to this to explain the process of subsidence and sea level rise. That's about it for how to create an animation in PowerPoint and then import it and use it in an iMovie project. You've probably noticed, however, some of the other animations that I have down here in my event library. These are some that I did with a more professional animation program, which is quite a bit more complicated than PowerPoint, but they clearly give you a lot more flexibility and options for creating animations. And in future tutorials, I will be showing how to use at least one of these other animation programs to create animations for your movie projects. And that's all there is to it. Now you should be able to create your own animations in PowerPoint that you can then use in your movie projects.